Hello everybody, we're back again for Mr. Kramer's video lesson. We're still finishing off the road trip. This is part 4. I'm excited because this has been a lot of fun planning a trip down the west coast, Oregon, California. Let's go into this one. I've printed off the first page, but if you wanted to, we can go to the computer side of it and you're getting the exact same screen. So if we look at my first part, I'm talking about how it's really important to plan even some of the little details. Some people think food, no problem. But if you eat at restaurants the whole time, first of all, it could be quite expensive. But second, it might not be the healthiest thing. So one of the things I'm going to emphasize, if you go over here, it's Safeway. Safeway is a cheap place. You can get loaves of breads, buns, but you also can get fruit and vegetables. I love getting a bag of carrots and I eat while I'm driving. It makes it a little healthier. Awesome. So let's get down to this task part. What are we going to do today? We're going to do 2 main things. First of all, step one, plan how to eat for each day of your trip. Part 2, we're going to stop at certain places, touristy places. So put a bit of a budget into that because you don't want to go there and just not buy something because this is going to be an iconic trip. And then lastly, what's the total for each day? So if you flip to the next screen, you actually have a full example. I wanted to show you what I did. So if we talk about Safeway, let's talk about right here. What can you buy from Safeway? You can buy a loaf of bread. What else do you want to buy? And think, what can I eat really cheap? You can get some cold cuts, some deli meat. Sometimes meat doesn't last as long, so you're going to get some cheese with 2 E's. I definitely think fruit and veggies. You can say that, veggies. So think about getting food that would last a full day, maybe even 2 days. What did we say? A bag of carrots. Those baby mini carrots, you're eating vegetables the whole day through, awesome health. So part 2, I happen to be going to Starbucks. So this is one of those things where you can work all over the place. Your breakfast, lunch, dinner, or if you wanted to, you could take a look at your tourist stops too. So if you look over, I've gone and opened up my first day of my first trip. Do you remember this a few weeks ago? I'm going from Vancouver to Portland and I'm stopping in Seattle. Well, in Seattle, I'm gonna go to Pike Place, the starting place of Starbucks. And I'm gonna go there for lunch, I figure. I'm also, when I get to Portland, I'm going to go to the Oregon Zoo and I'm going to go to Powell's Bookstore. Now, the reason why I'm looking at this is, first of all, I'm going to transfer that into today's document, but also I'm going to think about, hey, if I'm at Pike Place, what a great place to have lunch. So we go back over here, we've got Starbucks, we've got Powell's Bookstore, let's add that. And we've got the Oregon Zoo. So now let's go back to the food part. When we're having food, I've got breakfast. I'm going to go to Safeway, get a loaf of bread, some meat, some veggies, some carrots, fruit. Awesome. For lunch, I'm going to go to Starbucks and I'm going to get a sandwich and coffee. I'm going to remember that, and maybe I'll even get a coffee mug. Let's do the last part. Trader Joe's is kind of like Safeway, but it's even better. You can get pre-made food. So I'm gonna get, let's say, a chicken Caesar salad. One of the things I want you to definitely remember is, yeah, I can get the same type of food at Trader Joe's as a restaurant, but at a restaurant it's gonna cost me over 20 bucks. But I get chicken Caesar salad. Maybe I'm going to get some focaccia bread. And I can be full. And then I want you to be estimating. Let's go to the cost. What's the cost gonna be? If I go to Starbucks and have a sandwich and coffee, probably about 12 bucks. If we go and get our snack and breakfast, bread, meats, fruits and vegetables, I bet you it's no more than 10 bucks. And the neat thing is some of this is gonna last a couple of days. The fruit, the vegetables, it can last a day. If you bring a cooler, some of your cheeses last 2 days. So really think about finding ways to just save 5, 10 bucks a day because it'll add up. Lastly, Trader Joe's. Again, it's really good food. It's going to be healthier. I'm betting I can get that for let's just say no more than 12 bucks, maybe 15, you know. Estimate it. The reason being is you want to have an idea what's it going to cost for one day. If you're off by a couple of bucks, doesn't make a big difference. Now, let's go over to Starbucks. We've already got the food allotted here. So we don't need to pay for that, but maybe I'm going to get a special cup. Maybe I'm going to get a cup. So if I'm going to get a cup, it's going to probably be like 15 bucks. And it's going to be a mug. It's if I go to Powell's bookstore, I want to buy a couple of books. I love books. And I'm going to write that. I'm allowed to spend up to 40 bucks on books. Now, the reason being is if you already have a limit on how much you're going to spend, you won't go over it. And what's neat is if you do this for your whole trip, maybe you don't buy the mug because you don't find one, then you can always put it farther down. But the big thing is you don't want to come back and realize you just spent hundreds of dollars more than you wanted. Now let's go to the Oregon Zoo. You don't just go there and say, hey, I'm here. Do a bit of research. So what are we going to do? I'm going to go to internet. I've Googled Oregon Zoo admission. We look over here. There's the adult admission, $22.95. So now we're going to go back to our trip. The Oregon Zoo is $22.95. And let's say I want to have, let's say, 25 bucks for souvenirs, t-shirt. And the neat thing is, I might not even be buying the t-shirt for myself. I'll get it for a family member. And the whole point is to have an estimate and a budget. So I think I've covered most of the things here. So what's the cost of the day? Well, we're now going to go through our food. We've got $10. What else do we have? We've got $12. We've got $15. That's all for the food. Let's do a new line. We've got $15 for the mug. What else do we have? Let's take a look at that. $40 for books. $22.95 for admission. And then lastly, $25. Now you may say, hey, Mr. Kramer, you missed out on all the taxes. And yeah, I did, but at least we've got a starting point for your budget. You may say, hey, Mr. Kramer, it's an American. Totally correct, but now at least we have a budget where we're kind of having a starting place to talk. $10 plus 12 plus 15 plus 15 plus 40 plus 22.95 plus 25. My budget for the day is $139.95. So you may say, hey, the first day I spent $139.95 on food and touristy things. That may seem really good. You may say, hey, Mr. Kramer, that's too much. I'm going to go to McDonald's fast food for $5. Totally, you make the decisions, make it work for you. But what I want you to do is for every day, do your food, do your touristy stops, and do the total. And what's neat is don't change it the first time around, because I just want you to have an idea without overthinking it. But what we'll do later on next week is we'll go back one more time and say, hey, if you did have to cut costs, what would you do? But for right now, give me food, give me tourist, give me total for the day. Now, if you look at your sheets, I've given you a whole lot of blank ones. I've given you blank ones for day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've even given you some extra to 7 and 8. So if you need it, you can fill the whole thing out. So I hope this makes sense. Have a good time doing this. Have fun. And we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.